Yeah, so we'll see how this one goes as we stretch it out to a game number 3 here. Picks and bans, P's and B's, pretty please. Thank you very much. And the bans coming out on the left side will, of course, be most wanted. They have the first pick. They have the first option available. We'll see which way they elect to go. Noble will get to answer back. Most wanted. Do they first pick the Ra here?
I think that if it's available, they're definitely going to go for it. The way ManRay was playing it, you just cannot deny that form of success, especially with Aduro playing it relatively well as well. Just different styles, but overall providing the same impact in the game.
Absolutely, and you know that's one of the things that, you know, I love dynamic characters, and I think that Ra is this set has been the example of that. You know, just two different sides of the same coin. We've talked about it just because that's been the main point here. Game number 1 to game number 2. I love seeing two very different players, very different styles. ManRay has always been this aggro guy, and while Aduro has generally been that aggro guy, he's understood that he has to adapt his play style, right? And he understands that he can't always be that that pedal to the metal guy being on some of these lower end teams, so he has to adjust his play style. I really like to see how that one works out. And we're back to the game 1 bans. Everybody focused on the supports here. Athena banned out first. Terra banned out second.
Aduro has to play a little bit more off of Mirage instead. We saw just the amount of distance that ManRay was covering when during that tier 2 tower siege in the first game when ManRay was pushing down with the rest of his team. He was nowhere near his team. He dropped the heal and then he backed off just in case he was about to get dove randomly from the side. He respected the fact that there was that all-in potential from Noble, and he realized the value of his own life. So that's the difference of style between these two mid laners.
So the Arlong Shen banned out by most wanted themselves. It worked out in game number 1, but as soon as Noble were sort of privy to what the game plan was, Arlong Shen just got smoked maybe 8 times in that second game. So because of that, most wanted gonna not play it and say, hey, you know what, he's too strong, let's just ban him out. And there's the Ra ban coming out from Noble. Exactly what I expected there. And Jing will be DayToRemeber's choice this time around.
I'm surprised that it was the Jing and not the Thor, honestly, because Plazma on the Thor was relatively successful, as well as Mirage playing the Thor the last game around. So that was the secondary pick that I thought was going to be highly contested here. Jing was not as successful as the Soul was for DayToRemeber in the first game, so they could have potentially looked for that kind of a first pick, but either way, Jing does provide a lot of mobility from that hunter position. And now Noble, though, gonna have that really heavy burst style. Mirage is known for his aggressive Nemesis style.
Yeah, I got a little bit, you know, interested at that Nemesis pick. Mirage is aggressive, loves to dive. Mirage likes to make the play that you don't expect him to make, and Nemesis is very good at that. Hey, I'm safe here behind my tier 1 tower. Just kidding. Mirage is going to chase you all the way to your damn Phoenix, and he's going to kill you, and he's going to get out. And Nemesis is going to be that character that enables him to do so. Most wanted, on the other hand, they're going to go completely different and just look for likely a burst combination. There's that Thor that you were talking about, and it's going to be coupled next to a Bacchus who's going to really help out Jing.
There's a lot of potential picks now coming from ManRay. If he wants to try to go for this heavy burst mage composition, he could potentially look for a Scylla. He could look for a Raijin that would synergize very well with this Thor Bacchus. The goal here between both of these teams already, from what I'm seeing, is burst and kill whoever they can initiate on. Bacchus is going to look for that belly flop. Sobek is going to look for that initial pluck.
I want a Poseidon. With the change to Gem of Isolation from 70 power to 90 power, Gem of Isolation is no longer a hindrance. Usually what happens with those utility items like Divine Ruin, who's still in that situation, is you sort of trade out, okay, I could buy a, let's say 100 power is even for a power item, right? Bancroft, etc.
Sure.
Right? 100 power is what you're looking at, and if you go all the way down to 70 power, well, you're trading out that burst damage for some of the utility. With Gem of Isolation being bumped up to 90 power, you're not really giving up too much power, in essence, for the utility, and when you're stuck in a Gem of Isolation whirlpool, you're not going anywhere. That removes Sobek's initiation, that removes Nemesis's craziness when it comes to the double dash, etc. We saw Poseidon used yesterday in Europe from Shadow Nightmare, and it was decent. I think he made some gameplay mistakes, but we saw the application and we saw how it worked out. I would really like to see the Poseidon here coming out from Most Wanted to couple with their burst strategy, Thor in the jungle, Bacchus in the support role. I think it would work out flawlessly. And especially with the Vulcan and the Honest banned out, your choices are slim.
Well, Aduro is more known for that Poseidon play, and like you mentioned, between the Bancrofts and the Gem of Isolation. Gem of Isolation is a little bit more expensive, but like you mentioned before, that is a huge power play that 20 magical power spike for Gem of Isolation, in which just synergizes so well with that Whirlpool. If you get in that little cripple field, Thor's not going to be able to teleport to his hammer. Bacchus is not going to be able to really look for any sort of initiation. That's going to lock down any sort of momentum that Most Wanted could potentially have going into these little skirmishes. But it's going to be the Raijin instead.
The Raijin on the side of Noble will be selected. And another character that gets put down by Cripple, Amaterasu, will be in the solo lane. And the last pick will be the mid laner. Poseidon is a flavor pick. He's so far out of the meta at this point in time. I think that there are a number of things that might bring him a little bit closer, but he is countered a lot, so we'll see how it works out. So it will be the Scylla this time around. Poseidon was a reach.
I think ManRay is well known for his Scylla, honestly. The way he's been playing ranked, I remember a lot of Scylla plays coming out of him that was so successful. So now he has the setup from Thor, he has the setup from Bacchus, even maybe looking for the late game setup from Amaterasu's ultimate that's done could provide a huge impact, even if they commit to Sobek here. As long as it's going to be ManRay finding the execute, the reset, that's going to allow Most Wanted to really transition these team fights.
Most Wanted are going to have to play their lights out because Noble have almost all of their comfort picks. Sobek on Wubbn, Nemesis on Mirage, and then Sun Wukong on Whalrus. These three characters are really exactly, if you ask these players what characters they wanted, I think those might be the answers. Real talk, I'm worried about Aduro's Raijin. Raijin is not really a style that we see Aduro play well. I can't really remember a game in recent memory that Aduro did relatively strongly on this Raijin. Whalrus does suffer first basic. So, as is Smite tradition, the game goes to Most Wanted.
Absolutely. So, might as well pack it up. It's going to be Most Wanted against Envious heading into the second phase of the Gauntlet.
But realistically, it's up to Most Wanted, I think, to really abuse Aduro on this Raijin. It's a character that, like I said, is not necessarily what Aduro is known for, and not just the character. I'm really focusing on the gameplay style here. Aduro is just, we're used to seeing the Ra that we saw last game, the Isis that he's most well known for. These aggressive burst mages aren't necessarily Aduro style.
Well, the thing is here, against Most Wanted, the way the drafts have worked out, I think it actually favors Aduro because the whole game plan is to probably focus out NikHaro yet again.
Sure.
If he ever looks for the belly flop, Aduro has two options to escape. He can just use his ultimate and look to fight, or he can Thunder Crash away while the belly flop is coming out and retreat into safety.
Even still, we'll take a look. I'm always the analyst that says play the player, not the, well, you got to play the picks, right? But I always keep in mind the player. So with that in mind, we'll be keeping a close eye on this mid lane for sure. Aduro versus ManRay, as you mentioned. ManRay known for his Scylla, Aduro on the other hand, in quite a different situation. And Aduro's the one that's going to suffer a little bit of the first shot. Right, Harpies go the weight of Noble. Plazma is going to join his teammate here and look for the lefts.
And that's going to allow them to maybe get this 1-for-1. Now, ManRay didn't really be able to solo that whole mid-wave on his own. So yet again, it's going to be Aduro with that first level 5 power play. We'll see if that's going to be an impact later as the game progresses in about 1.5 to 2 minutes from now. But Noble, after they clear that mid-wave right off the bat, they're going to go for those back right Harpy invades.
Yeah, I mean, they're even showing Most Wanted where they're going.
They can't do anything about it. They have to sit and defend that mid-wave. You cannot give up a mid-wave just to defend your own back right Harpies. The gold and experience is in favor of securing this mid-wave.
So that's exactly what Most Wanted will do. A lot of times you'll see these players try to catch everybody on the entrance, and that's why Aduro has the Thunder Crash. He's able to get away from it. But again, Aduro gets hit by that crush.
And that has no more health potions or multi-pots remaining. Aquarius, though, he dashes in aggressively. Whalrus could take advantage here, but he doesn't have the cooldowns necessarily to take advantage of this, and that's going to allow him to continue on to be a bully.
And the second invade coming out from Most Wanted here. And this is why Scylla just...
What is Most Wanted doing? They went to check their own back right Harpies. They should have known that that's exactly what Noble were doing anyway when they initially just went towards the right side mid Harpies. But now Aduro, Thunder Crashing in aggressively, going to slow down the Thor. Not going to find the kill though.
And ManRay able to deal a lot of damage right on back. Yeah, that was a very...
just wasted time.
Yeah, that was very silly coming out from Most Wanted because the pathing that Noble took...
Oh!
Aduro again!
Mirage, you should have ate that for Aduro!
Chose not to.
Oh my goodness, that would have been the most blooper first blood we would have ever seen. If we saw Plazma even in position to look for a hammer, that would have been a guaranteed kill onto a Duro.
And see, like, I don't fault Plazma for not being in position because who's going to get hit by that?
Yeah. Yeah, he was too low to also be a little close there.
I do fault him for going and looking at those pack harpies. I'll let it rest after this one, but just very silly play there coming out from Most Wanted, just wasting the time, as you said. And 500 gold in the lead already is Noble because of those invades and no first blood just yet. So very curious start to this one. But ManRay here on the Scylla, he's just taking advantage of the fact that Aduro has to be in the middle of the wave to clear as to Raijin, and ManRay's just been smacking him with those crushes every single time, forcing an early back from Aduro.
And those crushes were only level 2 at this point, with ManRay only having that tier 1 Dynasty plate helmet at the time, just now backing for the tier 2 boots. Once he finishes off 2 or 3 items, those crushes are going to absolutely chunk Aduro, probably about 50% of his health or so, unless he elects to go for more of a magical defense style with the Void Stone potentially. But I wouldn't really like to see that play out of him because he needs to rely on the engagements from Mirage and Wobbn and then just play that artillery style mage coming from mid.
For sure. That's the style that he's drafted with the Raijin, so we'll see how it works out. But Noble able to really just exert their pressure because of the selections out of Most Wanted. You can see they've tried to balance the lack of early game Scylla with the Thor, who has a strong early game, but even that just wasn't able to make it happen. And Noble really punished the lack of early game on the Scylla by the double invade into the back harpies.
Now Wobbn jumping into mid lane, and as a result, immediately all of Noble is going to collapse on NikHaro. That's exactly the play that they really wanted to. Took a little bit of time to find the kill, but they are credited with that first blood, and now
How did
Noble
he even wind up that deep?
He wanted to try to engage. He used that belly flop, trying to disrupt Noble from going into those left side mid harpies, but he didn't realize that the rotation from the dual lane of Noble was already there doing those harpies.
Smart rotation coming out from Noble there, pulling everybody on the map pretty much with the exception of Whalrus. Who's going to look for a kill of his own?
No, he's just going to heal up, actually. He doesn't want to be... He doesn't have teleport. That's why he's going to utilize that ultimate as his tool to be able to stay in the laning phase that much longer. Aquarius now, he doesn't have any potions remaining. His aura is only at level 2, hitting level 8, so it's not that much HP 5. So Whalrus going to have a huge advantage now with the teleport being on cooldown by 90 seconds for Aquarius.
So that'll be a good look in the solo lane. Most Wanted here, trying to recover in their mid lane. Like I said, they lost the first blood. That'll amount to a 1,000 gold lead. Despite the bounty being only 500, Noble has been able to get off to a nice lead in the jungle because of their early game prowess.
And Whalrus, though, off of that one wave that he was able to push, immediately gets those Fire Giant Elementals, getting additional 90 gold, separating the gap away from this Amaterasu. Now has about a 200 gold lead, and this is what you really want to do. You want to be able to make more of an impact in the mid game, because Amaterasu is actually one of the strongest solo laners coming into those team fights. Her ultimate with her second ability will actually almost 100 to 0 any sort of squishy mage, along with the mobility that she provides with her aura and just the damage.
And even right here, you can see Aquarius taking these fights, and this is what's impressed me from looking at Aquarius, is that he's willing to take these fights. And Plazma is certainly going to help him out here with the ultimate onto the Sun Wukong. And with the ultimate down, Plazma is able to take down Whalrus himself. That right there, excellent communication from Aquarius, saying Sun Wukong used his ultimate because of the lack of teleport, just trying to stay relevant in lane. Plazma immediately shifts focus.
The bait into the counter bait. We saw Whalrus baiting out Aquarius with Mirage around the corner, but Aquarius was baiting both of them because Plazma had that global ultimate in mind without that defensive escape from Whalrus. That was a very clean, easy kill, and now that's going to allow Amaterasu yet again to make a comeback. We saw the difference in the first game where we saw Whalrus with the Vamana having that sort of lead and shock being played on Aquarius, being able to make that comeback after that first blood.
NikHaro. No one knows where the fat man goes. All credit to Suntouch on that one. And NikHaro, credit to him, making the hot steal onto the red buff.
Trying to look for a power play, though, on the right-hand side. 3-man versus 2 on the side of Noble's favor. Going to be able to secure those right-side mid-harpies. So despite losing their red, still secure a little bit of their own jungle. So still making the small plays where it counts. Just has to be a little bit more careful with the global presence coming out of Plazma.
And that was just really impressed again by Most Wanted. These are the plays, you know, these are the big boy plays that you lose last game, you're down early in this game, but you still have the presence of mind to make these plays. You have to not let the downsides of these get into your head, and seeing Most Wanted be able to keep a level keel. NikHaro has died maybe 8-9 times in this game and then last game as well, just one in this one, and still having the confidence to go in and say, hey, I'm Bacchus, I can make this play. I respect that a lot, totally.
That's what you have to do. The Intoxicate is such a powerful tool in terms of securing kills, securing buffs and objectives, whatever the case is. You have to be utilizing that to your advantage. Obviously, he recognized that the last time he engaged in mid lane, it was not a very smart thing to do because he got instantly turned on Mirage. Aduro committed their ultimates, was a very clean kill. So now he has to go into a more tanky build. Normally Bacchuses will go for Shoes of the Mad Guy, right? Trying to synergize with his belly flop Intoxicate combination, but going for the Reinforced Greaves here could potentially get him out of danger once Mirage does commit to any sort of engagement. So now we're going to see Plazma look for some more Sentry Ward control around the mid lane. Wubbn still making the rotations though, trying to look for those plucks. And then we're going to see in the soul lane Aquarius being able to clear out the wave, whereas Whalrus is thinking about what he wants to do because Mirage is right around the corner.
Yeah, and Aquarius just catches eye. And again, talk about the small things. Solo lane is all about the small things that you do. The positioning of Aquarius and looking at where his camera is, being able to see the jungle. He's getting aggressive here because he knows his buddy's right around the block. Whalrus getting shut down as well. Wobbin shows up and he's going to be purifying out the flip.
Wobbin though, he wants to commit onto the tower though, but NikHaro making the rotation, gonna not find the stun. The root is off the mark, but now Aduro, long distance artillery just too early. No real setup or damage confirmation. Not gonna find the kill. Whalrus gets taken out again. His ultimate was down yet again.
And Most Wanted are playing this sort of, this is a battle, it's interesting. In the solo lane, right? It's a battle of the junglers. More than the solo laners.
Yes.
You're getting these conversations about, you know, Whalrus' ultimate up or down or whatnot, and we're definitely seeing Aquarius and Whalrus fight down about half HP, but make no bones about it, despite the fact that the solo laners are the one dying and even getting the kills sometimes, and despite the fact that all the fights have happened in the solo lane, this has 100% been about who can respond quicker and more aptly. Is it your jungler in your mid lane, as we saw ManRay make the rotation, or is it the enemies?
I don't expect Whalrus to be utilizing his ultimate in that soul lane any longer from here on out. Plazma has been making the rotations at the key moments and opportunities, so this has just been in Aquarius' advantage. Now hitting level 13, 2 levels ahead of Whalrus, and this is not what you want to be dealing with against an Amaterasu that is now ahead of you. So she's going to be able to make those rotations. She has the Breastplate of Valor. She could potentially chase Whalrus until the end of the world here.
I love that mirror from Amaterasu on the skin. It's always just so happy right there, finding the dash, could have silenced out Whalrus.
Good bait too. He didn't really even want to commit to that blue buff. He popped it to very early just to stack up and amplify the damage that was about to come out of it. Being able to dash into Whalrus, amplifying the damage, recognizes that the teleport still not there, just now hitting level 12 onto Whalrus. And if he can force Whalrus to teleport into the solo lane by bullying him out, now that could give a power play for Aquarius rotating onto the left side to go for a Gold Fury.
Yeah, that's really what he's looking for here. Now there's a smackdown on Aquarius. So again, I want to well, Wobbin, he's going to be generally fine. Everybody thinking about getting aggressive and then having to retreat.
Just waiting for the moments, just wants to be patient, wait for anybody to overextend out of position. If Wobbin can find a potential pluck into Mirage and Aduro right around the corner, that person will get blown up, and that's the whole idea behind Noble's composition. Look for that synergy between those 3 characters.
So after 2.5 here, you've had a little bit better of a look at Aquarius. What's your take on him? You still happily excited?
He's been playing very well defensively, I would say, just waiting for the right timing to make the plays. And that's what you have to do as Amaterasu. You're not going to be able to make those solo highlight plays because you're dealing against Whalrus' Sun Wukong. Normally, Sun Wukongs are aggressive enough on their own once their abilities get maxed out. And on top of that, you're dealing with Whalrus, who's aggressive on every god.
As soon as Whalrus goes to the proxy farm, you can see the teleport come out. Most Wanted try to use the Gold Fury, and they get it very successfully. Aduro's going to go down. DayToRemeber gets the kill, and that's Most Wanted Just understanding their points on the map.
And just like that, that's the reason, because Whalrus' teleport was down, but now making the rotation, forced to go into the sky. They're all grouped up, and he comes landing down onto NikHaro. Second kill onto DayToRemeber. Wow, we credited with that one. Still want to go commit to this because the decoy will absorb the first 2 tower shots. Not going to find more kills than that, but most wanted, though, they do secure the Gold Fury with the Ama monster.
Being honest, Tolly, did you think the decoy was Whalrus?
No, not at all. I saw the Wukong on the bottom side, or the top side, rather.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll trust you. So that's a Gold Fury on the way to most wanted. They lose 2, but they do get 1. Even?
At this point, as long as they didn't get anything more off of those 2 kills, right? They didn't get a tier 1 tower, they didn't invade any buffs, they're not getting any mid-harpies, and Fire Giant Elementals will not respawn any longer, so unfortunately not worth it for Noble, right? But the later this game goes, if they find themselves losing another Gold Fury and get 2 more kills, the respawn timers will be in Noble's favor, because now they'll have more time to really go for these long extended sieges. Aduro, though, dashing in aggressively.
And Plazma's going to be just fine. Aquarius, on the other hand, just had his ultimate forced out.
So much damage coming out of Aquarius. He is now level 15 at this point. He's going to be able to continue the bullying and onslaught onto Whalrus because he has better sustaining options between constantly switching his auras every single time. And with the cooldown reduction from Best Play to Valor, it's going to be very difficult for Whalrus to even look for any sort of poke. It's almost meaningless at this point in time.
Here's a little bit of aggression. Sobek off the mark. Wubbn going to have to immediately go in the ultimate.
Great initiation, I would say, from Most Wanted, being able to really force that one out. Now grouped up in the mid lane. They don't have to worry about lurking in the water, but with the speed buff respawning, they're just going to wait for that right timing. They want to be able to make sure that Plazma has the mobility to make the rotation plays with his global presence with that speed buff.
So 14 on the clock. Most Wanted do lead this one. They're up by 1,500, just a little bit over it. This is the 3rd game. Noble able to stretch it to a 3rd game after a dominating game number 2, in all honesty. It's very interesting how this set has gone. Most Wanted really ran game number 1 without Noble making too much noise. And then game number 2 was ran by Noble without Most Wanted making too much noise. And here in this one, a very even match.
Very quiet game, I would say, between these 2 hunters and this 3rd one so far. Wowy is level 16 now. Was 1 level behind earlier to DayToRemeber. And we see the different style of builds. We see Wowy picking up that Celestial Legion helmet, just wanting to respect the crits coming out of DayToRemeber. Doesn't really want to be able to deal with that one. So heading into the later stages of the game, going to mitigate a lot of that damage.
Wowy here, going to be doing what he can, just giving out some poke. And in all honesty, totally, both these hunters have been relatively quiet in the beginning stages of both game number 1 and game number 2. It's really been the late game applications that we've seen. Aggression in the duo lane, but Aquarius not going to be falling victim to it just yet until Wubbn shows up, and then all the ultimates come out, and here comes Aduro as well. That's a dead solo, despite the help from the jungle.
Unfortunately, there is no Gold Fury to take advantage of, and now Aduro utilizing his own ultimate. NikHaro wants to jump in, utilizes his Intoxicate. ManRay is going to force out the ultimate coming out of the Sobek, but now backing off, though, going to get plucked back into danger. NikHaro, his belly flop is coming up soon, though.
Not going to be able to find the shot. Can't find it onto Aduro. So again, support falls down. And that's a 2 for none.
That's just unfortunate aggression coming out of Aquarius. He was too far deep under that tier 1 tower, wanting to clear it out right away, but recognizing this was Noble. They recognized that the Gold Fury was still down. They could look for that opportunity to overcommit in the soul lane. As a result. They forced a dash, they forced the ultimate, and then the fact that Wubbn came in for that 3rd engagement was so crucial to be able to really lock down Aquarius. And the fact that Aquarius, he utilized his ultimate thinking that he was going to be able to escape, and then he realized, okay, I'm safe against these 2 members. I'm just going to use my ultimate to get some guaranteed damage off. And then, oh shit, here comes Wubbn from behind.
ManRay here has the Warlock sash, so ManRay certainly looking to be a little bit more sustainful, looking to just be a little bit more tanky here in juxtaposition to some of his more aggressive builds that he's taken. And right now he's got to play defense underneath the tier 1 tower in mid lane. He was just playing defense over there on the right-hand side. ManRay Mr. Defense here in game number 3.
It still could look for a lot of power plays with ManRay looking for the resets on the Ama monsters. That's the one comeback. But now NikHaro jumping in the backline, going to knock up Aduro, disrupting his Thunder Crash. Just now, though, he's going to be met with Aquarius.
And Aquarius finds him on the right side. Wubbn underneath the tower. Doesn't matter. Everybody from M-Dub's going to go for the aggro play. DayToRemeber finds him. Couple more shots will do it. Sickening Strike saves him for the moment. But DayToRemeber remembers, and he takes him down today.
2 for nothing now for Most Wanted. And with the Golfier respawning, this could be their timing to continue the momentum. They got the first one with the Ama Monster, and they still have ManRay's ultimate. They could look for this yet again.
Again, this is Most Wanted understanding the timing. This is a big boy play. This is an SPL caliber maneuver right here. The bite back from Noble, however, looks strong. Whalrus goes to the ultimate, chasing Plazma on the left-hand side. Mirage coming down straight looking for the Hunter, but everybody collapses back onto the jungler, who finds a way out thanks to a shifty hammer play. Well done by Most Wanted, tying the game, in fact, taking the lead.
And they have the Golfier as a result of the lead that they just got.
Ooh.
Now they got the 2 kills, they got the Golfier, everyone escapes very cleanly, and now Noble just have to retreat, look for a farm elsewhere.
You see these teams, you see these challenger level teams that come into the Gauntlet or come into relegation, and again, the biggest glaring mistake that these guys make is not being able to finish the game, but misunderstanding how important timing is in these games. And right here, Most Wanted take that fight specifically because they know the Gold Fury's coming up. Most Wanted could have taken that fight a couple of minutes ago, but there's nothing to gain. There's no stuff after the stuff. Most Wanted specifically fight then, knowing the Gold Fury's up. They're just making the correct decisions. I really enjoy watching this, Anatoly.
I just feel that Noble got caught off guard by NikHaro's aggressive play on the belly flop. Yeah. We know that Aduro has 2 options in terms of dealing with that belly flop. He didn't explore either of those options, and he just took too much damage. He didn't get off his ultimate. He didn't get off any sort of damage in the team fight to stay relevant. So now they have to really adjust to that engagement because they can't have that option explored yet again. They need their long-range artillery mage alive to be able to follow up from the Nemesis ultimate, from the plucks from Wubbn.
And that's just, oh man. What a fun day today. Most Wanted, I think, surprising some of these players. Noble has been a bottom of the pack team. Make no bones about it. They have not been successful, but they even found a couple of wins when they came to LAN, right? This has definitely been the best, the worst teams in the SPL have been, right? And I think, you know, the stretch between the Challenger Cup has always been vast. And Most Wanted surprising a lot of people, this broadcaster included. And I'm really excited to see, because like I said, it's these next level plays. It's not that they're just hitting their buttons, Toly. I'm not getting excited off of a ManRay ultimate because somebody's stunned for 5 seconds. I'm getting excited because of the timing applications, because of the communication intricacies in the solo lane. These are the type of things that build a winning team, not just a winning game. And here in the Gauntlet, they've got 3 more players, or teams rather, to go up against. Should Noble fall down, Most Wanted will go up against, admittedly, much harder competition. But from what we've seen so far, even if Most Wanted don't come out of the Gauntlet this year, I really hope that whatever glue is keeping this team together, maybe they don't keep the entire roster, but the idea and some of these players stick to it, because I think there's good future in some of these players.
All these teams recognize the prize at the end of the rainbow, and so the end of Season 3, Super Regionals, is right around the corner. Plazma gonna get plugged in, forced into the Sanctuary. Duro's ultimate, gonna look for the CCs, but the Purification is good. Now going into the Sky, could look for a re-engage, but he doesn't have the hammer, so he's gonna have to just back on out of there.
Wubbn, the one-man army here, just trying to go for the kill by himself. Scuttles his way out onto the right side. Beautiful belly flop and the follow-up from the solo lane. Aduro's low. Aduro used Sanctuary. Aduro's dead. DayToRemeber makes sure to keep that one in mind.
ManRay finds the kill. Great
reset.
execute. Gonna continue on hitting Wowy. So much damage, but NikHaro, he wants to find the belly flop. It's good. The Disapparate's not available, but the Crush, though, not in range, unfortunately, and that's gonna be unfortunate. Dead. NikHaro under the tower. 1 for 2 trade. Definitely worth it in the long run, especially with DayToRemeber split pushing on the left-hand side.
Oof. Most Wanted making it count right now. Spicy plays coming out, and they're taking the lead, as we said. 2,000 gold, still maintaining the lead, not pushing it any further. But that 500, thanks to that Tier 1 tower, will push them up to about 2,500. As I said, Whalrus playing his signature Sun Wukong, not really having the impact that I think, he wanted. These are the games that, like I said, game number 3, it's all or nothing. Noble pick, all right, we'll just pick our comfy gods, right? Like I said, down the line. But it comes down to, honestly, I don't want to be that guy, totally, but it's coming down to what I said in the beginning. A Duro on this Raijin is just not doing what we need him to do.
No, NikHaro has definitely been able to make it very difficult for Duro's day. He can't really get off any sort of damage in that last team fight as well. He keeps using his ultimate a little bit too early in these engagements. Clearly, we saw that Plazma was able to get away from any sort of danger, and as a result, Duro couldn't really follow up. So now, it's Most Wanted always utilizing this Bacchus belly flop to disrupt this Raijin.
Aquarius here in the soul lane. I liked what we just saw out of Plazma. He walked again. I was like, he's not really gonna let me poke him, right? Oh, he is. Okay, that's fine. And then they took the right side harpies.
That could also be a mind games when you're baiting out the hammer. Now they don't have an escape or the ultimate too.
Well, that's what it was. Mirage got hit by the poke, pretended to back. Plasma did back, and then Mirage's team goes for the Gold Fury. Just a little bit of fun stuff there, trying to bait Plazma into doing what he can do.
And now Noble, we're flirting in the idea with the Gold Fury, but electing to reset it, and that's going to be problematic because there's a lot of damage for Most Wanted to be able to start up this Gold Fury. We see NikHaro trying to zone out, gets plucked into the backline, but they're not going to turn onto this Bacchus. Belly flopping onto ManRay though in the backline. Plasma's in the sky.
Wubbn's half HP. Thor's looking for a target. Gonna change his mind, not looking for a Duro, instead looking for the backline. Lands on 2. Double stun, and it's forced out the purification. Game 1.
And that's going to be a clean relic usage by the Soul player, utilizing that purification. Jumped on yet again. Now Whalrus forced into the sky. Supernova even coming out. NikHaro is going to be the focus without that belly flop, but the plug was off the mark.
Noble's very low, however. ManRay looking for a target. Finds one. He's gone. Wubbn's toasted. Still looking for more. It's going to be ManRay. Gets out of the ultimate. And with one down, Wowy's taken in trouble. Nice belly flop. Sanctuary saves him for the moment. Aquarius silences him out. Gonna let Wowy walk away. That's an example of a player you don't need to kill. He's chased out. He won't have an impact.
They found 1 kill, and they got 2 very crippled, so now it's going to be a 5-on-2. We do see Sun Wukong, though, underneath, and that's going to be a 3rd Gold Fury for Most Wanted. They're going to commit onto Mirage. The clean kill yet again. Mirage, though, Duro in the mid lane could get bursted down. He just came back with full health, already poked down a half.
This is the game. This is the game that DayToRemeber is making an impact, and when you look at the great teams, and maybe I'm being a little bit hyperbolic. I don't think Most Wanted is a great team just yet. I think they need to prove themselves. But when you look at the great teams of Smite, they're able to shift their carry focus to different players in different games. And DayToRemeber has been a role player for game number 1 and game number 2. Right? Game number 1, he won his lane really hard so that his team could exert pressure in the mid game, right? Game number 2, all right, they lost the game, no big deal. Game number 3, he's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. He's chasing down these kills, which is exactly what Jing is supposed to do. And it's just working really well for DayToRemeber and his team. And sure, I think ManRay is still the focal point, and he's going to be the sort of the star player here. But it's very important to me to see the fact that DayToRemeber can make more of an impact here in game number 3 than he has in the rest of the set.
Most Wanted doing a beautiful job just grouping up, taking away all the tier 1 towers after that goal fear, extending their lead to about 6,000 gold now. Just looking for any sort of plays that they can with ManRay, finding those root crushes at this late game. Could easily find some kills out, and we do see that the rotation coming out of Noble, they were looking for a pick potentially, but instead electing goes for those right side mid harpies, but now all of Most Wanted, they're thinking about engaging.
Yeah, I mean, and right now they have the tools. When you're up 6K, that's about, you're looking at, 1 or 2/3 of an item, per player pretty much at 6K. You actually have a tangible lead. 2,000 gold is nice to look at, but what's the actual application of 2K divided by 5,
It's
right?
just Sentry Wards extra. Obviously, you're just trying to control the vision on the map, but now it's Aquarius being plugged in, and now Plazma diving in the backline, forcing the purification out of a Duro, and that's going to be a nice target to munch on after that relic use.
Exactly. So a little bit of an appetizer there for M-Dubs, and they're going to shift their focus over to the Fire Giant. They'll have the Wrath available should they choose to go for it. Well, I think this is more of a bait into the fight, Totally.
They're looking for Aduro yet again. That's been the primary focus. NikHaro got tired of getting focused that last game as Arlong It's like, no, you guys don't. It's my turn. But now it's going to be Aquarius getting dove on a little bit. Whalrus is going to find the slow, but with that wing blade, it's going to actually amplify Aquarius a little bit longer. Now NikHaro in position to belly flop Wowy, but instead electing to just be patient a little bit, waiting for the rest of his team to make that rotation.
Patience right now is pretty much the name of the game. Most Wanted going to start the Fire Giant. And again, this is... Don't be surprised to see Most Wanted full peel off of this and just go directly for the fight as soon as Noble come close enough. Wubbn and Whalrus leading the charge. Good positioning coming out from Noble. Perfect positioning, actually, keeping their front line exactly where they're supposed to be in the front line. Mirage flirting with it as well on that jungle Nemesis. Half HP on the Fire Giant. Here's everybody comes. Wubbn's going to get chased down by Plazma. Landed on and slammed it on. Taked out. And there's DayToRemeber. There's beauty in the breakdown as Aduro finds his 4th death of the game. It's 2 for none right now. Most Wanted off to a tear.
And now we see Whalrus having to disengage on the right-hand side with his ultimate. We did see NikHaro sacrifice his own life, but they did find Wubbn and Aduro in the process. So now with that 4-on-3 power play, they're still going to start up the Fire Giant yet again, but this time it's going to be ManRay with the level 20 Scylla trying to zone out. He doesn't have his ultimate, but they do have DayToRemeber for so much damage. The crush deletes Whalrus.
And this is exactly the combo that you need. Fire Giant goes the way of Most Wanted. Agility takes DayToRemeber to the front side, but Wowie's on the back end. He's going to get greeted by the rest of Most Wanted, and Aquarius is the one that puts Wowie's face on a poster. It's 13-7. M-Dubs leading the charge just under a half hour.
Can Most Wanted actually win this? This would be the first team that would actually advance from the bottom ranking over their superseding ranking from the Europe side of things, at least, because yesterday we saw every team that was on the bottom just lost their set originally, right? We saw Burrito losing to Cyclone losing to Elevate losing to Cringeco, then Cringeco losing to Dignitas, the final boss. But now Most Wanted, the first game of the day in the North American Gauntlet, in a winning position against Noble.
And like I said, I mean, admittedly, I was familiar with maybe half of this team for Most Wanted prior, but watching this play out, listen, a lot of teams can win a game, right? After game number 1, I was cautiously impressed, right? Okay, a lot of teams can win a game. You can surprise your opposition, you can get a little bit lucky from your opposition, but as I've noted, the entire set, Most Wanted have just played intelligent Smite. They've made use of just good strategy that I think a lot of some lower-end teams just don't get. Whalrus gets obliterated, forced into the ultimate. It'll keep him alive for now, but I can't say the same about that tier 2 tower. 1,500 in the pockets for Most Wanted.
Nice.
They're leading by over 10 grand.
The root and the crush just absolutely devastating Wubbn, getting him down to about 30% health, and that's going to allow the rest of Most Wanted to move on over to that right-hand side. Nobody from Noble wants to contest this. Another 1,500 gold for free for Most Wanted now.
And right now, Most Wanted going to group up. Where's their next selection? Back to base. That's the right choice. You can see the gold in hand, about 1,500 per player. They're going to be able to almost finish their builds where, again, Noble's builds, well, it's a checkerboard, Anatoly. There's a lot of holes. There's a lot of just situations where Noble are just, I mean, they're down over 10 grand, like I said. Most Wanted are utilizing their lead. They're pushing it forward. And, you know, this is game number 2. NikHaro had a bazillion deaths for no good reason. Game number 3, NikHaro has 5 deaths because he's playing a Bacchus, and that's kind of his job here.
Yeah, he has to be the one engaging and allowing the rest of his team to not have to worry about all those cooldowns that were expended on that tanky Bacchus frontliner. So now, as a result, we're seeing ManRay picking up that purple pot. He does have this very aggressive build yet again, now finishing off with a Rod of Tahuti. A little bit more safe, I would say, than the time he was playing the Rod, going for the Warlock Sash, and the Dynasty played him this time around. But still going to be Most Wanted pushing down the left-hand side. They have the Fire Giant buff for another minute and 10 seconds.
And you know, I think ManRay's build swap comes down to the composition around him. Bacchus doesn't have as much peel as, per se, some of the other characters from last time. Plazma looking not for the peel, but directly for the aggression. The Wiggly Mink finds a way out on the left-hand side. Beautiful wall coming out from Plazma, separating Wubbn from the rest of the pack. He goes into the ultimate to try to save some face, but the Phoenix already down, and so is Wubbn. DayToRemeber slams it home. Whalrus on the back end. Just kidding, that's a decoy. Whalrus on the back end now. Here comes the rest of everybody.
Knocks the ultimate from Aduro, though, finding the kill onto ManRay through the wall. This is what Aduro had to do a long time ago. A little bit too late now, though, as the left side Phoenix does fall. So if we see more ultimates like this out of Aduro, That's the important factor, is the timing of these ultimates. We saw him constantly utilize it too early in these team fights, but that one was perfect.
Exactly. And, you know, I might disagree with you a little bit there. Maybe not too late. If Most Wanted are able to play defense, now granted that Phoenix went down, but if we see that play, like you said, from Enduro on the mid Phoenix and the right Phoenix on the push, Noble can certainly make a swing back into this. They're 15,000 gold down, give or take, but they can absolutely sit, tread water, play some D, and make the comeback.
And Aduro was managing to do that with about 4.5 items complete. He doesn't have the Rod of Tahuti complete quite yet. So once that does get finished, once he gets the Soul Reaver, that ultimate is going to be absolutely chunking everybody from Most Wanted. So it has to be a perfect defense in this mid and right Phoenix, as the Fire Giant buff did fade away from Most Wanted, but it is respawning in 35 seconds, and that's going to give enough time for all 5 members to be alive for Most Wanted.
And again, I like this play coming out from ManRay, again buying the red pot. Excuse me, purple pot for you purists out there. Buying the power pot before he's finished with the build. And again, this just, you know, he understands that, sure, he's not going to be able to finish his build, but the way the game is going, the game might be over before he finishes the build. The push right now coming out of base is more important than the push that might not happen. So Most Wanted certainly gearing up for what could be the end of the fight.
And that's going to allow Most Wanted to still control the jungle side. We saw Plazma able to strip away that speed buff. Blue buff did get credited to NikHaro. Now starting up the Gold Fury. We see Plazma taken up into the sky, utilizing that as a satellite. A nice ultimate from Whalrus, preventing the knockup. Plazma off the mark in the back, forced to retreat, but now Aquarius getting plucked in.
This is trouble. Noble with a great start so far. They're looking for the end of the team fight. Aquarius down to half HP. NikHaro bounces onto the back, but he's by himself. ManRay into the ultimate, trying to find Enduro, and he does! He's gone! Wow, he's good target next, but ManRay decides better, and the rest of the team will look for him anyway. There goes down Wubbn. It's 2 down to the side of Noble. They're out for 50 seconds.
And that's huge now, because that gives a huge window to start up the Fire Giant. Titan is going to get poked down a little bit by those Fire Minions, but the back from Wowy is going to allow it to defend the Titan a little bit longer. Whalrus trying to get in position, but great zoning from ManRay and NikHaro, not going to allow him any sort of potential to steal this with the Wrath.
I'm loving the play of ManRay. You know, Whalp, sure, no disrespect, but ManRay has been absolutely integral in all 3 of these games, even the loss right there. And it's fun watching ManRay play because he's just doing pretty much everything the way he's supposed to.
The timing, this is why Raijin is just so difficult against Scylla. While you're in the ultimate form, you have to watch out for I'm a Monster. We saw that ultimate just chunked him completely, and now Wowy barely able to escape that. Mid Phoenix did fall. Both of the relics were still available because the fact that I'm a Monster was used during Aduro's ultimate.
And right now, here comes the flip, and it's going to put Plazma in a bad spot. The Crush can follow up and provide some of the damage. More importantly, some of the protection shred.
That's going to be a nice allowance rather to try to get this right side Phoenix, but it is low. The spray does pop. Plazma's in the sky. Crush chunks out Whalrus there. His ultimate is available. He's going to go into the sky, buying a little bit of time. Supernova not able to kill DayToRemeber.
All 3 birds are down, and now here comes Enduro in the ultimate. Plazma's likely going to fall here thanks to the burst damage, and Wowy claims the life of him. But Noble, they already get what they came for. Y'all want to take our Thor? No problem. We took 3 of your guard dogs. We're going to be back. And Plazma falls down. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal for Most Wanted. And one of the biggest things that I really want to draw attention to in that fight is Aquarius, right? Aquarius is, everybody's fighting sort of on the right side of the Phoenix. Aquarius by himself takes the pathing through the mid Phoenix to the backside, making sure Enduro can't make the big play that he made on the left side Phoenix so long ago that enabled Noble to really fight back. Aquarius zoned out and silenced the mid laner, understanding his role as a solo laner. This is what I'm talking about Most Wanted being one of these stronger teams. They just understand it.
You have to have that late game disruption from your soul laner. That's exactly what Aquarius has been able to do. He baited out so many cooldowns as well as utilizing his ultimate just to get out of dodge there. So this is huge A+ from Aquarius in this third game. And I want to see more out of him as if Most Wanted clearing out this game, which they should be able to do. About up 18,000 gold now. Fire Giant buff for another minute and a half. They have 2 out of 3 Phoenixes, but this last Phoenix on the left is a respawn one, so that's going to be very easy for Most Wanted to really strip away and look for this Titan.
Yeah, this is it. Check it out. Let's see what everyone's talking about. It's an old. You're from New York.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You're the Nicolak jingle.
I know what you're talking about. You got me smiling. You got me smiling.
Shout outs to the northeastern folks out there. It's a jingle. That's a positive one. It's not like Cars for Kids, right? That one just haunts you.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
Most Wanted haunting Noble right now. Left side, keep an eye on it. Half HP and half power. That Phoenix is there. NikHaro Pavers coming down the left side, looking for it right now. Most Wanted trying to find the end to their game and set, which would push them next up into the Gauntlet. There comes NikHaro on the backside. Aquarius going to join him as well, splitting up the team of Noble successfully. DayToRemeber ults pretty much defensively that time around. Finds Mirage as a target. Down goes the Phoenix, and that's the target. Adura on the backside getting ulted by Aquarius. Uses the Sanctuary to get out, but wow, he can't do the same. ManRay takes him out. Here comes the Titan. It's the Siege. Most Wanted looking to take down Noble, and they got it.
It doesn't matter even if I'm a Monster was used or not. Clean kills yet again by Most Wanted. They get the third game, 2-1 against Noble. They're going to advance against Team Envious.
That's the move, and that's the groove. Man, Most Wanted impressing a lot of people, I'm sure, coming out on top. Noble going to fall down to the wayside one more time. It seems like those players could never grab the victory when it counts, but unfortunately for them, and fortunately for Most Wanted, they're moving on. Like we said, this didn't happen in Europe. We're going to see it happen here in North America.
First set.
And it's honestly off of just fantastic play. Like I said, we really got to see some strong stuff come out of M-Dubs.
Absolutely. The plays from ManRay as well as Plazma from game 1 and 3 was just so beautiful between the Thor, Raw, the Scylla in game number 3. Just absolutely perfect. I'm so excited to see them against Envious because honestly, they could win that set too because Envious's roster is not quite what it used to be.
Yeah, I was very curious. You have the rosters there. Why don't you break down what we're looking at for next set?
So Envious's roster, it's going to be Kiki moving into the solo lane,
which I'm personally happy about.
Skilladon still in jungle. They have Team Money 3-1-3 in middle.
Team Money.
It's Team Money. He's known for his Scotty in middle, which is actually pretty good, by the way. Sure. Scotty middle is the truth. I'm not going to lie. Okay. It's pretty good.
Okay.
They have Kabam, who was the sub coming into the last group land, going to be in that 100 position. And then for the Guardian, they have Niruma, who was the sub back in the Thirst days, and he was all the support back at Neil M.
I've always liked Neil Ma and what he's been able to do. And that'll be Most Wanted heading up against Team Envious in our Mortal Kombat style gauntlet. We just got to watch some of the ManRay replays, and I don't want to do him a disservice as we're talking about the next set. ManRay absolutely played his face off right there.
Oh yeah.
ManRay has, like I said, ManRay has sort of been that forever challenger player. He has always been in the Challenger Cup and never really been able to make that jump. Not because the world's playing against him, but because the other players were just a little bit more talented in practice than him. But I think this point in time, different players make strides at different moments, and this point, ManRay looks a lot different than he has in the past. I'm excited.
It's all about the team that you're with, honestly. The communication, the synergy between Most Wanted was superior to Noble, I would say. Despite Noble being here in the last land, being able to get a little bit more synergy under their belt, trying to get into each other's mindsets, seeing what works, see what doesn't. It didn't really matter. It didn't work for them in the Gauntlet, so now they're going to have to be patiently waiting for the beginning of Season 4.
Patiently waiting for a set to explode on. We'll be up next with Envy versus Most Wanted. Stay tuned in just a few.